There are moments in life that etch themselves into your soul, leaving marks that never quite fade. For me, it was that morning, the morning I was supposed to get married. The tuxedo hung on its hook in my hotel room, untouched, pristine, and waiting. A deep navy with a subtle sheen that caught the morning light streaming through the window. It should have been a day of excitement, a day I had been looking forward to for months. My best man, Drew, was in the bathroom, adjusting his tie, the scent of cologne mixing with the nervous energy in the air. I felt the buzz of my phone in my pocket and saw the name of my cousin flash on the screen. "Thought you should see this," it said, with no further explanation, just a short video clip. I tapped the message, assume it was a joke, maybe a behind-the-scenes shot from the venue or a funny moment. But when the video opened, I realized it was anything but. The shaky footage seemed to have been recorded in secret. The garden of the resort, the place where I was supposed to say my vows, came into view. And then there she was, Emma, my bride-to-be, in her white rehearsal robe, her hair pinned up, laughing. And standing beside her, some man I didn't recognize, tall, casually dressed, leaning in close. She didn't pull away. She smiled and kissed him. Not a brief peck, not an accident. A kiss that felt intentional, rehearsed, and full of familiarity. The phone slipped from my hand and hit the carpet, the cold tile beneath me numbing my thoughts. For a moment, I just stared at it, tried to convince myself that it wasn't real, that it wasn't what I thought it was. Maybe it was old. Maybe it was edited. Maybe it was a joke. But deep down, I knew better. I knew the garden. I knew that robe. The video was taken that morning, hours before the ceremony was supposed to start. Drew came out of the bathroom, his face full of anticipation. "Everything good?" he asked, but when he saw my face, his smile vanished. "Dude, what happened?" I couldn't speak at first. My chest felt hollow, like everything inside me had just collapsed. I bent down, picked up the phone, and handed it to him. He watched the video once, then twice. His face turned to stone, his eyes wide with the kind of silent understanding that didn't need words. "You sure you still want to do this?" he asked, his voice carefully measured. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. My heart was breaking in real time, but my mind couldn't catch up. Emma and I had been together for years. We'd survived long distance, job losses, family deaths. She had been my person, the one I thought I could rely on, my forever. But now, just hours before we were supposed to exchange vows, she was kissing someone else. And in that moment, all the dreams we had built together seemed to crumble. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the tuxedo. What was the point of putting it on now? Drew sat beside me, quiet, knowing better than to push me. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just sat there, frozen, feeling the seconds tick by like hours. My heart felt like it was beating in my throat, drowning out everything else. The video kept replaying in my mind. Emma's laugh, the way she tilted her head, the way her hand lingered on his chest. It all looked so practiced, so natural. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. I stood up, my knees weak, but my mind was sharp. I took the tuxedo off the hook and held it in my hands. The fabric, once full of hope and anticipation, was now nothing more than a costume, one for a play I no longer wanted to be a part of. Drew placed a steady hand on my shoulder. "You don't have to go through with it, man. You can walk away. You should walk away." I nodded, barely able to speak. "I know, but I need to see her. I need to look her in the eye and see if she'll lie to my face." By the time I reached her suite, my legs were moving on autopilot. I knocked softly, and a bridesmaid opened the door, surprised to see me. "Can I talk to Emma?" I asked, keeping my voice steady, calm. When Emma appeared, her face lit up, that familiar, sweet smile spreading across her face. "Babe, is everything okay? You're not supposed to see me before." I didn't let her finish. I held up my phone, and her smile faltered as her eyes fell on the screen. "What's that?" she asked, her voice soft. "You tell me." I said, pressing play. I watched her face shift as the video played. She didn't even try to pretend. Her lips parted slightly, and her shoulders slumped. She knew. "James, who is he?" I asked, my voice low, devoid of emotion, like I was reading lines from a script I had rehearsed far too many times. She stammered, "He's no one." It was stupid. It didn't mean anything. I got nervous. I panicked. It was a mistake. "No!" I interrupted her, my voice cutting through the air like a knife. "A mistake is forgetting the rings. A mistake is leaving your vows in your hotel room. This was a choice." Her face crumpled, her eyes beginning to well up. I could see the tears, but I couldn't care anymore. "You kissed him this morning, Emma. This morning, while I was upstairs getting ready to marry you. Do you understand what that means?" "I do," she whispered. I don't know what's wrong with me. I thought maybe I needed one last stop." My heart clenched, but I couldn't listen to any more excuses. There's no such thing as one last stop when you love someone. When you're about to make them your forever, you don't shop around on your wedding day. She reached for my hand, tears streaming down her face. "Please, James. I messed up, but we can get past this. We love each other." I pulled away, my voice cold. "No, Emma. I loved you. You loved the idea of me. You loved being loved. That's not the same." I turned and walked away before she could see me break, because in that moment I was breaking. The chapel was already full when I made it downstairs. Guests were seated. The music played softly in the background, and the minister stood at the altar, waiting. My parents were near the front, their faces bright with smiles, completely unaware that everything had already fallen apart upstairs. I stood in the doorway, still in my tux, staring at a future that no longer belonged to me. The weight of 100 eyes turned toward me, waiting for the groom, waiting for the moment. But there would be no moment. I walked down the aisle, not to wait for a bride, but to reach the microphone. My heart pounded in my chest louder than the music, but I kept my composure. "I want to thank you all for being here." I began, my voice steady, though it felt like I was speaking from somewhere far away. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. It still might be, just not for the reasons I thought. There were murmurs in the crowd, confused faces, and Emma's mother looked like she was about to faint. "Emma won't be coming down that aisle," I said, letting the words hang in the air. Not because she's hurt or scared or second-guessing, but because this morning she kissed another man. Gasps, audible, raw shock filled the room. I felt it wash over me like cold water. I had seen it with my own eyes. I showed her the proof. She admitted it. "I'm not telling you this to humiliate her," I continued, my voice unwavering. "I'm telling you this because too often we hide from the truth. We bury what hurts and pretend everything is fine. But I'm not doing that. I deserve better. And so do all of you. Every one of you who has ever ignored your gut or accepted less than your worth." I looked out over the crowd, people I loved, people who thought they were here to celebrate love. But today, love had shown its true face. "She made a choice," I said, locking eyes with the crowd. "And now I'm making mine. There won't be a wedding today." I stepped down from the microphone. The room was silent. Silent in a way that felt like the calm after a storm, when the wind dies down and the wreckage becomes clear. No one clapped. No one moved. I walked out into the sun, free. The days that followed were a blur. People called, texted, sent long apologetic messages trying to comfort me. Even Emma. She begged me to talk, to listen, to understand. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she wasn't. But it didn't matter anymore. The pain didn't vanish overnight. But in time, there was peace in my decision. I had chosen self-respect over fantasy. And in the end, that was enough. No more pretending. No more guessing. Just truth. And sometimes, that's the beginning of real love.